Now you're ready to pin your waistband to your skirt. So what you want to do is find your zipper. You're working now with the right side of the fabric towards you. Find the edge of your zipper, which you can sort of see here, and then the pin that you put in to determine the little flap at the edge. Line that pin up with the edge of the zipper. I don't know if you can see that. And then, pinning through only one side of the fabric, you open your waistband up and you put a pin in to hold it in place. Now that you've done that, you can actually take this pin out if you need to make it easier to open. Right, and then what you want to do is you need to pin all the way around, adjusting your gathers. So, from the edge of this zipper to the first seam is 1/4 of your skirt. So that means that you need to adjust your gathers so that this piece of fabric fits in the 1/4 that you have identified on your waistband with your first pin. In other words, all these ruffles, gathers, need to fit between this edge and this pin. So what you do is you pin this pin through one side of the fabric only, right sides together on your waistband. You pin it at the seam, and then you adjust the ruffle. So do you want to do that? Do you want to pin your, see where your seam is right here? So you want to take this pin, or you can use another pin if you want, but you'll see a hole in your fabric. Take the pin out, open it, and pin where the hole from the pin was. Right there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Another pin sticking through. Strangely, we have, oh, it's the pin from, there we go.
Oh, right, I lost it.
It's okay, we can do it again.
Okay.
What we'll do is we'll take the edge and we'll fold to the middle. Right. And here, stick your pin just on that, through one piece of fabric. So as you can see, ladies, as always, we are adjusting as we go. So what I'm going to do is just, your fabric's really fine, so I got it through both when I didn't really want to. There. So now just ignore this pin, get another pin, and pin that pin to the seam. Does that make sense? And then I can take this. Yeah. Okay, good. So now you can see that we have sort of like this loose bit of fabric that's not attached. Here's our waistband. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just move these gathers along until we get them pretty evenly spaced. So that you don't want to end up with like a big flat piece and then like a big bunch of gathers. Your skirt will look really weird, and maybe you're going for like a punk avant-garde kind of thing. That's totally fine. But if you want it to be a little bit more mainstream and look a little bit more finished, then what you want to do is pin it. Now, in the case here, this might happen to you. It happens to me all the time. So Anais has started sewing her student X. Started sewing her gathers a little far in, so there's kind of a flat piece. Don't worry, because you can just kind of like cinch it up by pinning it so that it ends up being gathered when you sew it. So if that's the case, don't freak out. Also, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a flatter part at the back, because let's face it, nobody needs a little extra junk in the trunk, so a little flatter part right over your bum is going to be fine. Don't worry about it. So once you've got it organized so that you feel that it's pretty flat, are pretty evenly spaced, the gathers, you want to pin just like this pin. Can you see this pin here? And you want to pin about every inch. You put the pins really close when you're sewing on a waistband so that the gathers don't move. Because when you put the presser foot down, sometimes they push your gathers. So this way, it takes a long time to pin it, and it takes a little while to sew it, but it does make sure that your gathers remain even, so that when you flip the waistband over, you have this beautiful even gather. So that's what we're going to do next, is just adjust these gathers and then pin them in place. So, do you want to give that a whirl? So what do you think? Do you feel like those look even-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'd say we can even go a little bit tighter on that gather, don't you think? Because it's looking a little loose at one end. There. Okay, so you just kind of hold it with one hand, and then I kind of pin where my thumbnail is, and if you do that working all the way along.
Should I pin outwards or like?
You're gonna pin inwards. I've pinned outwards because I'm dumb, but because then when you're sewing, the heads of the pins are where you're gonna reach for them. Okay, so we'll let the pinning continue. We'll do the same thing with the next quarter of the skirt and the next quarter. But I think I'll come back to you in a second because I'll show you how to find the middle of your front of your skirt. Okay, 1 second.